On October 23, 1986, the Supreme Court of Canada ruled unanimously that Eve, a 24-year-old woman with an intellectual disability, could not be sterilized without her consent. This landmark case, known as the Eve decision, has had a profound impact on the global movement to fully recognize the rights of persons with intellectual disabilities.
The Eve decision concerned a young woman whose mother was seeking the right to have her sterilized because the mother was concerned that she was becoming sexually active, and should she become pregnant, that the mother would be left to raise the child herself. The Eve decision was critical from a number of perspectives. It, for the first time in law, recognized that regardless of whether someone was under guardianship, regardless of their cognitive capacities, they had fundamental human rights. In this case, the right to the integrity of their body. This reversed hundreds of years of discrimination against people with intellectual disabilities, who until that decision were really considered to be non-persons before the law. And in fact, it would be another 2 decades until the UN Convention and Article 12 affirmed that all people, regardless of whether they had a disability or not, were persons before the law. The Eve decision was also critical in that it marked the emergence of an authentic voice of people with intellectual disabilities, not just in speaking for themselves in public, but doing so before the highest court in the land and having that voice recognized as integral to justice.
I was on the board of the Canadian Association for the Mentally Retarded. It is called Canadian Association for Community Living now. I was on another committee called the Consumer Advisory Committee. Someone brought up Eve's story to the board. Lots of parents were on the board at the time. They felt one way about it, and we felt another. As a committee, we felt someone needed to do or say something. We thought no one should be sterilized without their say. We felt very strongly about it. Our lawyers were very supportive, and all 9 judges agreed with our committee. It took a long time to take it to court. Most of the members from the Consumer Advisory Committee were on the committee a long time. I was very happy to be able to be part of her story. As far as I know, Eve doesn't know how famous she is. Eve was 24 at the time, not her real name. She doesn't know how important she is to everyone. It is important to remember that people don't get sterilized without their consent. If it has to happen for any reason, it should be for medical reasons only. If we need to have it done, 1, ask us. 2, explain in plain language in a way we understand.
So the Eve case, well, protecting tens of thousands of women who had come ahead of them, and indeed young men who could not be violated in the way they'd been violated since the beginning of time, and certainly since the beginning of the eugenics era, but also that they were people. They were people first, and that personhood came with fundamental human rights that could not be overturned regardless of whether someone was under guardianship or any other control by the courts or the government.